Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We liked our movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained as pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the feedback bit by bit. Sweetie and Sweetie are here to say it's the Large Marge sent us podcast. Hey.
Hey guys, welcome to the Large Marge Sent Us podcast, your favorite podcast where two sweetie sisters talk about movies that shaped their childhood. I'm Sweetie with an I-E.
And I'm Sweetie with a Y.
My pick today, this week, and I'm keeping with the old Disney classics. You know, I feel like we hadn't really been taking too much advantage of Disney Plus. And we really have in the last couple of weeks as we've watched some goodies, some old Disney movies, which are truly part of our childhood in the sense that we had bootleg, what we call Ron Dumas bootleg originals of many classic Disney films, right?
Right. It's funny that all of the classic Disney films we've watched recently have all had the racial disclaimer before the racist disclaimer before the films.
Let's just assume that every Disney movie before 19 blank is going to probably need to have that.
Made some mistakes.
But yeah, so growing up, we weren't really like as much of a buy new movies type of family. My dad,
we had like super affordable maybe at the beginning, and like you just didn't have too many opportunities to buy them. There weren't like Targets and you know, like stuff like that.
Like where would we have gotten them? Exactly. Good point.
Bradley's,
good point.
I guess. But
Bradley's, a gift. I don't know. So yeah, so our dad had this pretty dope recording device where you could record off the television. Now,
isn't that just a VCR?
Is that a VCR? Is that all VCRs? You can record off the television? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm unclear about VCR technology. It's been a long time.
It was this magical box.
Shut up. But it was like super like from like early 80s, let's say. It was like this hunk of plastic and metal. And it was the kind that like the top came out. It came out of the top, like the disc
There were
thing.
Like a couple different ones. But
okay, I remember the ones where it came out of the top, and I think that was the recording one, right? So we had all these movies recorded off the television, so I'm sure it's like, look in the TV guide, figure out when it's playing, you know, make your little recording. Quality, you know, sometimes suspect, as it would be.
Yeah.
And masking tape with Dad's scrawly handwriting, like title of movie. Grew up with, this was our movie collection, right? And do you remember where the movie collection was? Do you remember like the thing that had the pull-out drawer?
Well,
and they were all kind of in
there
there.
were two different ones. It was one the pull-out drawer in the old like
old
thing
living
with
room.
the old like key, that like really old which like I don't know if we had the key, I don't know. And then the second one was in the basement with the one that like kind of pulled out, and then like it broke after a while, but it was in that like entertainment console.
Cheap entertainment center. Anyway.
Yeah. But I wonder I don't remember a lot of our bootlegs having commercials in them. So I think Dad just taped them. We would rent them at the video store, and then he would make a copy.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm thinking of with the one that was popped out from the top, because it wasn't like the dual one.
Well,
that was like the dual VHS. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short, I'm sure you guys are very interested in the inner workings of our illegal bootleg taping scam of our family. Anyway, tonight we watch one of our favorite bootlegs, The Swiss Family Robinson.
Swiss Family Robinson. I don't know if it's the. Did you say
the?
the? I didn't mean to say
no. The. Okay. It's just Swiss Family Robinson.
Yeah. Did you say the?
I said the. Sorry.
Okay. The Swiss I don't know. Yeah, it got weird.
Who knows?
Turns out they're Swiss. guys.
Yeah.
I did
Yeah,
I knew that. I knew that, but at the same time, I'm not sure that I was actively always thinking that. It just always seemed like such part of their name.
There is, I haven't seen this movie in a good, 20 something years. And okay. So I was obsessed with this movie when I was a little kid. Dad must have showed it to us, but I really latched on. It's very exciting movie. I mean, it's thing after thing is going on. I watched this movie. We have videographic evidence of me watching this movie. It's a baby video of Sweetie, and this movie is playing in the background, the beginning overture scene. So I would have been maybe 4 years old, if that, watching this movie.
So weird. And wasn't it
it seems weird?
And wasn't that in the morning or something too in that video? What? I have no memory really of watching this movie, and I think I must have only had seen it in the background or but as soon as I heard those opening chords on that song, I was freaking out because we watched that Baby Andre video so often. It was just so funny. And Mom's humming it in Baby Andre too, so maybe we should talk to her about it.
Family favorite.
What's her connection?
So I was obsessed with it. I thought it was super exciting. I remember so many scenes. I must have watched it 100 times.
Maybe
just really into
it after I was old enough to watch movies and remember things. Because I never watched this with you.
I'm sure I grew out of it, as you do almost all movies. But so it's from the 1960s. So there was an older version from the 40s that's black and white, that if you do go on Disney Plus and look for Swiss Family Robinson, this might come up too.
And you might watch it for 10 minutes and get confused.
I put it on and I was black and white. I was what is this? Not my childhood. And apparently Disney bought the rights to that one and then made this redo, and so this version. So just, I don't know. I just remember loving it so much. Total desert island vibes. Every jungle animal you could possibly think of in this movie. Probably my first extended period viewing of shirtless men, I want to say, and finding that being I enjoy this. I'm 4. I'm not sure why.
I guess you didn't find a Marky Mark tape in your sister's bedroom.
I mean, was Swiss Family Robinson's my actual sexual awakening?
That's what it sounds like.
Not Devin Sawa and Casper. So I loved it. Huge fan of it. And it was really fun to watch tonight, except for the so as we said before, it has the racial disclaimer or inappropriate depictions of different cultures. So in this movie there are what are essentially pirates, but they're they're in Papua New Guinea area of the world.
Every
so
Asian stereotype.
Yeah, it's every Asian stereotype, and it's all different kind of people, Asian looking people in there. I don't know. So we'll talk about it. And then I want to say also this movie has really bad stories about animal cruelty. So there's tons of animals in this movie, which as a little kid, it's basically a zoo. I mean, there's every single animal that would be in a zoo is in this movie, and there's the interactions with the humans. I mean, they're trying to train ostriches and zebras and stuff, but to get them to do that, I guess it was horrible animal cruelty. All the techniques are totally outlawed. You don't use them today.
I mean, even just the regular scenes with the animals, you can tell they're not. It's not a pretend tiger getting eaten by a dog. It's a
tiger. So watching this tonight was the thing that really upset me. It was just most of the animal stuff, because I was oh, this is just this is terrible. So this is 1960s. So not they always talk about what's the stuff with chimpanzees, when they would use chimpanzees in a lot of old movies, and how to make them smile, it really is the way they show that they're terrified. All that kind of stuff. So it's just, there wasn't the education then, and people didn't care. I mean, we just have a whole different view of animals now, and animal cruelty than I think existed then. But
I blame Francis. Francis.
Oh my God!
And he's just
I remember when I was little hating Francis so much. I still hate him. He's so annoying.
Crazy psychopath animal kidnapper. Like he just like sees an animal. He's like, that one's mine, and just like steals it and brings it back home. Like what?
No,
he sucks.
Very, very, very crazy. So, okay, so who's in this? So no one like really famous, but other than they were famous in the Disney world. So you have John Mills is the dad, Father Robinson, and was a very famous British actor at the time, and then went on to win an Oscar, supporting actor Oscar for Ryan's Song or something. I forget. Kind of a famous movie. But did you know he is Haley Mills' dad?
I did know, yes.
Yeah. Very cool. So he's the only Brit in this, and then the rest of them are all American actors. So unexplained. They're supposed to be Swiss anyway, so they just threw all the accents out the window.
Listen, it's called acting. Like you put on an accent. I'm confused why he was British and felt uncomfortable. Like then don't speak in a British accent, you dummy. Like what's going on?
Yeah,
no offense, John
That felt
Mills.
strange to me, but as a kid, I love that dad. I always thought he was so cool, and
he was a strapping gentleman.
He was a strapping gentleman. So then actress Dorothy McGuire played the mom. She was in Old Yeller. Still haven't seen that. Still too scared. Probably won't ever see it
ever. No thanks. Pass.
But she was in that. James MacArthur is Hottie with the Body, also known as Fritz.
Woo, woo.
I didn't recognize any of the movies that he was in, but he was kind of a stud actor at the time, apparently. Janet Monroe is Roberta. She was in Darby O'Gill and the Little People.
All right.
Tommy Kirk is Ernst. So he was in a ton of Disney stuff. Some include Babes in Toyland, Absent-Minded Professor, and also was in Old Yeller. And then dummy little Francis is Kevin Corcoran, who was also in Old Yeller. So everyone was in Old Yeller.
Get over Old Yeller.
And he was in Pollyanna with John Mills's daughter, Haley Mills, and Babes in Toyland. So again, they were, I'm sure, pretty big actors and actresses of the time, but mostly did a ton of other Disney films at this time. This movie was filmed in beautiful Trinidad and Tobago, and okay, when you haven't been on vacation for 2 years, this is not maybe the movie to watch because you're going to be so jealous. It's so beautiful there.
It is, but do I want to die from all these different animals that are all living together in this one place, plus pirates? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know. It would be scary, but the beaches look just so beautiful. The palm trees, the coconuts, whatever. Apparently they had a lot of rain, so the filming was actually pretty difficult, but it looks beautiful there. This the director is by a man named Ken Anakin. Did you read the trivia or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did.
Did you look up the director?
Well, I was trying to figure out if the pirates were speaking real languages or made up languages as part of the like racist undertones. Yeah. But they didn't say anything about that, so I just
they
ended
said
up reading it all.
Some of them were Indonesian.
I know, but some. Like, okay, what's the rest?
Some of it, I don't know. But anyway, so director Ken Anakin, pretty big director at the time. I didn't recognize almost any of his movies except one. Did you get to this part?
No. I mean, I didn't see what his filmography
all right.
was.
This director also directed Pippi Longstocking.
Shit, that's great.
I know. I was so happy. I was like,
wait,
oh my god,
the newer one,
the one we love,
or the older one?
No, late 80s one.
Oh my god, the
New
adventures.
New adventures.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Wow. I mean, I'm sorry.
I know.
Wow.
So also a couple more trivia bits. This is George Lucas is a huge fan of this movie. And he actually used both the anaconda scene in the swamp and the final battle scene for inspiration for some of the stuff in Star Wars. So the anaconda scene influenced the garbage scene, the like kind of gross snake like that gets the guys in the garbage compactor in first Star Wars. And then the battle at the end where he used to model the Battle of Endor, like at the end of Return of the Jedi. So that's pretty cool. George Lucas likes it. I'm in.
Yeah.
And then the only thing I was going to say was they haven't made another remake of this, which I was like kind of surprised about because it feels like something that like would have been done, except for the 1997 Beverly Hills Family Robinson, which looked terrible.
Huh. I don't remember that being released in theaters.
It has Sarah Michelle Gellar in it.
What? Weird.
I know.
Super weird.
Probably terrible.
Super weird. Well, listen, I think at the time, like, this is a genre of, survivor movies. So at the time that maybe they would have redone this, there was just so much of that happening. It was very big. It was like Castaway, and then like the actual reality show Survivor, and all these other things. So maybe they were there wasn't a good time for it. There's this is one of those stories that I feel like gets adapted in different ways. Maybe not like a direct adaptation, but like the stories is similar. Like, and it's just like the themes in this are just in most of those contents, right?
Yeah, totally. And I mean, you know how I feel about remakes, so who needs them? But I don't think I don't know why you would need one. This movie is like pretty good. It's super exciting. They do like kind of amazing stunts, and the work with the animals, even though they didn't probably treat them very well, was like really realistic. I mean, they used all the real animals. I don't know how they made the animals do all this stuff, obviously like with horrible ways. Yeah. But yeah, it was just huge movie for Disney. Made like tons and tons of money. It was the most like successful family movie of all time for like a long time. So people loved it. And when I said we were doing it, a lot of people came out and DM'd me and said, hey, I watched this a ton when I was little too. Big family favorite. So we were not the only ones.
Well, I remember going to the tree house at Disney World. They have a replica, and it's awesome. So that was really my main experience with Swiss Family Robinson. And Dad and I guess you would always be like, come on, Swiss Family Robinson, the movie. And I'd be like, I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Maybe it was a movie we just had together and loved. I don't know.
Apparently. So, but I do remember the house in Disney World had a gross dead spider, like a big spider on the wall. Yeah. And I was like, and I was really scared of it. And in this movie, there's a whole big shark scene. So maybe I just had trauma and I blocked it out.
You barely see the sharks. They don't even pop out of the water.
It didn't matter. When I was little, I was afraid of all sharks. It was still a scary scene, and they were going to get all those animals. I was probably
this movie is very intense, and there was
I was stressed out.
Yeah, it's pretty stressful. So that's why I'm surprised I could watch it so easily. Maybe I wasn't that. Maybe that not easily. Maybe I had nightmares. But as a 4-year-old, because when I was watching this, I was like, oh my god, it's thing after thing are these people are encountering and almost dying or.
Well, okay. New theory is that you tried to show it to me when I was old enough. And I was so scared that Mom made you get rid of it and never play it again.
Aww.
That would explain it.
Maybe, I think I just moved on. There were more movies to be watched. I had to put Swiss Family Robinson away. It just wasn't going to be a forever movie. Yeah. All right, so let's talk about the plot. So originally a book, I forget when it was from. They adapted it, but didn't really keep a lot from the book, I guess. Couldn't tell you, never read it. Though I felt someone I knew had the book. And I always see the cover and be like, whoa.
I think we did. I think it was one of those old books that we had.
Yeah, I think we had it. But yeah, never read it. I'm sure it's probably pretty good.
Thought she knew everything there was to know. She was a super fan.
I was a super fan. I was a stan of Family Robinson. Okay. It's time for the sweetie synopsis. Yes, sweeties. Roberta! Where are you?
Fritz! It's the wrong way, Roberta. It's the wrong way.
Half this movie is just annoying Ernst being like, Roberta! Ugh. Where are you? Roberta.
Well, I almost just said the Swiss family, but nope. The Robinsons. Right? But that's not really a Swiss
That's
name.
what I was thinking. I'm like, Swiss my ass.
I don't get it. Anyways, the Robinson family is trying to start a new life. They're from Switzerland. They're escaping fucking, get this, Napoleon.
Okay, so in my childhood mind, I was convinced that, first of all, they were on they had the ship themselves.
Me too.
They weren't like a crew, like
their ship.
Yeah, they weren't being like taken somewhere. It was their ship. They were going somewhere. They got stranded. So totally missed that whole part.
Well,
obviously didn't understand anything about the Napoleon thing, which you're going to talk about. I just thought like they were sailing away. I don't know what they were doing in those oceans, and then they crashed.
Sail away.
There was apparently more to it than that. A little bit more political than that.
Yeah. So things evidently are getting pretty dire over there. So they're kind of looking for a new life and opportunity in New Guinea, which I guess was like a thing to do back then.
Yeah.
People maybe were advertising New Guinea a lot. Who knows? So New Guinea is like kind of above Australia in that on that side of the world. So like in the east, which is important to know because, wow, what a fucking long journey from Switzerland to New Guinea. Like, how long did that take? A year?
Shit. I know.
Year and a half? Like, some soft estimate.
And that ship, like, wasn't that big.
It's not a big ship.
No, it wasn't like the Mayflower. It was pretty small.
So, yeah. Anyway, so the story opens, no background. We just see this ship in the seas getting tossed around. It's
this music's like, da 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 da.
The song.
Da 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 da.
The theme, the Robinson theme. And this family is like trapped in the bottom, I guess. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
They're like, let us out, but no one seems to be around. The ship runs aground on like a rock eventually. And by the time the storm is cleared up, this family goes out to, see the damage. They're stuck on a rock, but there is some land a little bit away, not like super far, but not super close. You know what I'm saying? Like they need a raft. So as luck would have it, this family is very smart and resourceful and can build anything out of anything. And I mean anything because wow, I'm just so impressed.
Constantly impressed, right?
I couldn't believe it. But so the first thing they make is this just like great raft with like actual bucket seats, like buckets as the seats. So they build this whole raft thing. It's really nice. There's also all these animals on the ship. They get in the raft. Little Francis is like, well, let's introduce the sons, shall we? So we have mother and father who don't get first names, which is like too bad. That sucks. Like I hope that doesn't happen in real life. That's really fucking depressing. So mother and father, and then we have Fritz, HOTTIE McHotster, the elder brother.
The elder brother.
He is hot. He's
more like the not like meathead, but more like physical jock. More like the jock brother.
He's the oldest, and he's like the cutest, so he wins.
But opposed to Ernst, who's like the nerdy brother.
Is a drip. And is like a super nerd and is like he just embarrasses me. Just like constantly I'm embarrassed.
I hated him when I was little watching this. I had slight pangs of like, oh, poor Ernst a couple times in this, but then I went back to hating him like pretty quick.
He sucks.
He's
the worst. You don't have a chance, bro. And then the youngest, Francis, who, like I said, is like some crazy animal thief. Obsessed with animals and thinks he can just like take animals whenever he wants for himself. So they're about to get in the raft, and then there's two dogs who want to come aboard, and father's like, no, they're too heavy. No, we're leaving them here. Like, okay, Dad, I'm already traumatized from this shipwreck, and now you have to kill my dogs. Like, what the fuck?
They are these huge Great Danes too, Dirk and Turk, I think.
No.
I said Turk and Turk.
Turk and Duke.
Okay, I mean that wasn't that far.
What is Dirk?
I don't know, but Dirk. It's a good dog name.
I know what you're gonna name your dog next. Good old Dirk. So Turk and Turk. I love it. Turk and Duke don't make it on the raft, but Francis is like, hey, why don't you try swimming? No concern for their safety. Lets the dogs just jump in the water. They're in this like tropical, not tropical, but like, I don't know. I guess they're technically in the Indian Ocean, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. The waters are zesty. Yeah. Let's just say that. Yeah, so there's like
rough seas, and there's like it's like a reef or something. So there's like all these rocks too that they're navigating
dogs
around,
are like
and
tired,
crazy waves and stuff.
Waves. It's fucking nuts. So I'm like stressed out as like shit over here. I'm texting Sweetie like, are these dogs about to fucking drown? Because I'm gonna kill you.
Sweetie's looking up. Does the dog die? Oh my god, it doesn't go back this far. They don't
that was
do
my
that
version.
in 1960s.
Texting you is my version of that.
Yeah.
But luckily they decide to rescue the dogs and pull them aboard, and so they're saved. So finally they make it to the island, and in like typical Survivor movie fashion, you know, you start making a camp on the beach. You're like, this is nice, we can live on the beach. And then the elements kick in. So then it starts raining, and you're like, we can't live on the beach, we need more secure shelter. So the boys get to work taking the raft out to the ship, getting wood and bringing it back. Also all the animals. So I don't know how long this took, but they do this. They bring all the animals back. The animals almost get fucking eaten by 10 sharks. It's crazy, but they make it. So they're hauling all this wood to make a house. So they're making basically a giant tree house in the jungle. And again, don't know how long this took, but it is a fucking night. They're like it seems like they took time to sand things and like paint them. Like, do we have time? Like, should we be spending time on this? It's just pretty nuts. So, the mother, because she's a woman, can't do anything. So she's just like not allowed to do anything useful. So who knows what she spends all her day doing. Just like waiting for the house to be built.
Cooking the coconuts. I don't know what they're eating, but
they don't have a kitchen yet. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
So
and it's unclear to me how long they were there for, because there's like the bones of the treehouse canopy that they're going to build, and the mom comes and they're checking it out, and she gets immediately freaked out. She's like, I'm not coming back up here until there's a railing. Like freaking out. The little boy like goes and climbs after some monkeys and then falls off the tree. Luckily he's tied up with a rope so he doesn't like fall to his death. But the mom's like, that's it. Like, me and Francis are not coming in this treehouse till it's finished. And then the guys are like, okay, cool. And then literally like a blink later, she's blindfolded and they're leading her up, and suddenly it's a fucking treehouse mansion, and they have built like everything and that they would have ever wanted.
Light landscaping around this edge. Like there's like flowers everywhere all of a sudden. Yeah. So
I mean, they didn't have anything else to do, but I'm assuming like, did it take months?
There was only 3 of them. It's I don't know. So it's great. Like we said, there's actually like water in the kitchen. There's like a sink, a little like stove. They fucking made a cooler.
Tables and chairs. Fridge
out of a tortoise shell. Like it's fucking nuts. And then
it wasn't their tortoise friend, was it?
That's what I was wondering.
Oh my god!
I was like, they better not have fucking killed that nice fucking tortoise who towed you to the island. Like,
oh god, I didn't think about that.
No, I think that one was too big. It could have been the first one they saw when they came. Remember that like that smaller one? It was probably him. Rest in peace, Torty.
We used you as a sink. Thank you.
But the house is sick. There's like rooms. The master suite is this like luxurious thing where you can like, and they've hooked up all these contraptions and machines to like crank the ladder up so the animals don't come, and you can open the thing so you can
skylight
look at the stars when you're sleeping. It looked great.
It looks awesome.
Sign me up. I mean, camping.
Now you pay $3,000 a night on Airbnb to stay in a place like that.
I'd consider it.
Yeah.
Seems fun. I'm not sure about the bug situation though. Like,
okay, this was my one question. Seems like paradise. What about bugs?
Maybe they don't have bugs there.
In a tropical island, that's like all they have.
I mean,
you have no like screens or anything. I guess you're just putting up with it. I don't know. And then my other thought was like, those poor pasty Swiss people must have gotten the worst fucking sunburns initially, and then they would tan and then they'd be fine. But ouch, that first week.
They made those great hats, so it seemed to spare them.
The hat game in this movie is off the charts. Every scene had a new woven hat. And I'm like, is that all you have time to do now? They're basically like a hat shop.
They finished building the house, so now they moved on to hats. Makes sense. Swiss family hats.
Yes.
So now they're living this like fun little life in this place. So it's becoming very clear that the dad is like fucking obsessed with living on this island. And you're like, this is such like a little boy's like dream of the century, like his fantasy to have to grow
it's like
up
Never
on
Neverland.
an island. Yes, it's exactly like that. So she's kind of like, okay, like, yes, this is a nice place to live. You've done a great job with the house. It's beautiful. But like, our kids are going to have to grow up here, and what kind of future can we give them if they're like stuck on an island? Like, hello, I want them to know what having sex is. And they say marriage, but we all know what they meant.
I know. Well, that's one of my favorite scenes, because you could like see the wheels in the dad's head moving, like marriage, and he's really thinking about, oh my god, my guys are never going to be able to bone while we're here.
We're not going to pass the legacy on. Like, this is a problem. And so the dad's just kind of like, you know what? We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Maybe we'll find a woman here. I don't know. Let's play it by ear. So eventually, Ernst and Fritz decide that they want to take a journey like around the island to see if it's a peninsula or an island. Because, like, who knows where the fuck you are? You know, guys? No GPS, no maps. Nothing. Who the fuck knows? So Mother is not thrilled with this idea. She thinks it's very unsafe. She's right, because if I've learned one thing from the beginning of the movie, it's that raft steering is a dangerous business, and you can just like always crash that fucking raft into the rocks. So they're going around the island, and they see we forgot to mention that they had an encounter with pirates pretty early on. And the way they got them to leave was they flew up like a quarantine flag, which is like the plague is on this ship, so don't come in. It's genius. So then in this journey, Ernst and Fritz see the pirates, and they've captured an old captain who I thought was the captain of their ship.
Yeah.
I was so confused.
Where was their ship?
I don't know. Yeah. I have no idea where they came from. And he's with this boy in like a weird, awkward hat, and and in a weird voice. And so Ernst and Fritz go to like help them. The pirates are doing like something where they're killing each other with swords, pretty terrible. And meanwhile, they manage to get Birdie, the boy, I'm using
cabin boy
air quotes here, out into safety. So Birdie, I'm watching this movie, and I'm like, okay, who is this asshole? Like, he is so annoying in the the beginning of this. He's like falling on the ground. He's like, I can't run anymore. And it's just like so stupid. And I'm like, why are you wearing a weird blazer? And it's like, what is your problem?
And the slipperiest shoes on the planet, which he's able to keep on during the entire time. Those,
honestly, I was
black,
like,
shiny shoes.
What is happening? And then it changes where, like, I don't know if it's like the angle of the camera or something, and you're like, oh, that's a woman. Like, hello. And so Fritz and Ernst have no fucking clue about this. Obviously, they've like never seen a woman in their life. Well, Fritz did. He had a couple of girlfriends and seemed like back home.
Well, so right before this, they're like reminiscing about girls. They have this like bro moment on the beach. They're like tanning on this like beautiful beach with palm trees and stuff. And they're talking about their old life in Switzerland. And oh man, like I wish I could go back there. And you know, they're just like being nostalgic about like their old life. And they start talking about girls and all that and how they'd love to see one again, you know, and like all this stuff. So
someday.
So yeah, so they rescue this cabin boy. The pirates come back. There's a very intense scene in the jungle with this, which always scared me the most. One of the pirates is like this big guy with that look of where it's like a shade, your head is shaved, but then you have one ponytail. And he's almost like a sumo wrestler kind of looking guy. And he has this really scary machete and these yellow harem pants on. And it always really scared me as a kid. He was so scary. So then he's like going after them with this huge machete. They keep hiding in the jungle, weeds and everything. And the guy's like swishing it all around. I mean, like, so scary.
Yeah.
But they make it out. Yeah. And the pirates leave without Birdie.
Yeah. They don't stick around long, those pirates. They're just like one sign of danger, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
So eventually Birdie's like, I need to go back to my grandfather. I got to save him, like, or something. I don't know. Like, he'll be wondering where I am, that kind of thing. So they try to stop him, and then Fritz gets in a tussle. And wouldn't you know it, Birdie's hat comes off. And here, finally, Fritz is like, oh, my God, she's a woman. Like, okay, so if she had long, like, beautiful hair under that hat, maybe I would buy that scene. But, like, what is so different now that she like takes off the hat? She's a short boy haircut, and that's the thing that makes him be like, she's a woman, not like
I didn't get that either.
He's wearing makeup, or like he has a beautiful bone structure. Like, like come on.
I mean, she did have like a feminine face, I guess, but I mean, it wasn't like a total. She could have been like a young boy, I would say. I didn't think she was like totally glamorous enough to look like
the scene on the beach,
a woman.
Yeah, the scene on the beach when she's held prisoner, yes. They did something different, like with the makeup or like something there.
She had eyeshadow on when they revealed that she was a girl.
Yes,
definitely.
So then all of a sudden, and like progressively in the jungle, you're like, oh, she's just a woman. Like, so strange. So now Fritz and Ernst are all like excited, and they're just like, oh my God, a woman. And so immediately they both love her.
Well, then this movie becomes Swiss Family Robinson, The Bachelorette. It is just about guys vying for this one woman's attention.
But first they have to make it back to camp.
Yes.
So they have to, like, who knows how far they had gotten around the islands. No, they have to go through the center. So they come into all these perils. It's all very dramatic. Birdie, her name's Roberta. We'll start calling her that from now on. Actually, I'm going to stick with Birdie because I think it's funner. She's useless. And it's funny that George Lucas was so inspired by this movie, because when I was watching it, all I could think of was our friend Stevie's Temple of Doom over there, which is not George Lucas, right? But that concept of like dragging a woman like through the jungle, like, I'll save you, like, just felt very Indiana Jones to me.
Oh, definitely. And that was like really hard to watch, and especially like once they find out she's a woman, they're like helping her down from the rocks.
Did you catch this line? After they find out she's a woman, don't worry, we'll try to make it easy for you from now on. Like,
right. Okay. So it's like she was handling it like pretty okay. I know she like kind of complained at the beginning, but she seemed like kind of fine. She leans into it for sure and is like, okay, thank God. But then once they do make it back, I feel like that kind of drops away, and she's kind of doing her own thing, and
like,
doesn't seem as helpless.
I can shoot a gun. Like,
exactly. So that does flip eventually, which is good, because like I feel like I would have remembered more of her being like so helpless, but she was only damsel in distress if she wanted, like when she was flirting with Fritz, I feel like.
Right. So eventually they make it back, and it's Christmas. It happens to be Christmas. And it's like this funny scene where they show up singing, and Birdie's on the zebra, and they're singing this Christmas song. And the mom and the dad and stupid Francis are like so psyched that the family's back, and they're like, yay! And they run down there, and fucking Fritz and Ernst just like leave this poor girl like on the zebra, and are like, Mom, Dad, and like, hello, like the Francis comes, like they didn't introduce her to anybody. It was so weird. So, and they don't even show that scene at all. Like, what did they say? Like, hey, Mom and Dad, like, we found this girl. We thought she was a boy. She was a prisoner, and she had a grandfather. He might be dead. I don't know. And but whatever. Now she's in the family. So the mom is fucking psyched because all she's wanted is a daughter, and she's got all these dresses that she needs other people to wear. And so she gives her a dress. They join the rest of the family. The boys are smitten kittens, and the battle begins, let's say. So the dad needs to like dance with her first, and then Fritz cuts in, and then Ernst cuts in. And I'll tell you, Birdie's playing both sides of this game.
She
is very. At first,
I'm telling you, that's right.
At first,
felt
I was
like the Bachelorette to me.
Yeah,
she just couldn't decide what she wanted.
Right, she was definitely into Fritz for sure. But then the Ernst side plot was like, what? Does she actually like him? Because she did have a couple connections with him, like a couple spark moments.
Yeah, I feel like the connection with Ernst was like a little bit how her old life was, where like that would have been someone where she would have been probably with if she remained in London, right? But once she like started to, you know, Fritz, as he said, is not like the scholarly one. He like wants to do a little bit more like rough and tumble stuff. He likes to build things. He's not, you know, Ernst is all like an engineer. He like thinks of the ideas, but like Fritz is like the muscle. So, you know, she kind of starts leaning towards that. I think she's just more attracted to him, Avi. I mean, like you said, Ernst is a drip. Like he is just the worst. And like his heart's in the right place, but he's just also kind of like a weird bragger. And is always like, oh, like I made this, that was my idea. Like, oh, like, you know, it's just this weird, like intellectual, nerdy bragger. You're like, okay, buddy, like tone it down, like 12 notches. So yeah, so that's kind of what this part of the movie is, just them and they actually get into like drag out fights, which is sad,
dramatic. And so then there's this the other great realization by the father. Is that he's like, wouldn't you know that, mother? We needed a girl, and now one is here, just like I had predicted. And she's like, that's great, honey, but like we have 3 sons. And it's like, up until this point, I'm pretty sure the dad was convinced she was going to have sex with all of them.
Ew.
And just like keep producing babies. Like I'm pretty sure that's what he was imagining, because it didn't even cross his mind.
Well, they still would have been very inbred.
No, because she's not related to any of them by blood.
Yeah, but the like, so if she had kids, babies, which each one of the sons, but then the babies would be related to each other by blood.
They would anyways. They would be sisters and cousins, or like brothers and sisters and cousins.
But then
it's perfectly fine. It's just like they're not related. Like. The siblings, but the people having sex are not related. That's all that matters.
I know. But if you want to continue, so those kids would have to have sex with each other. They would have sex with their cousins and their siblings. Continue?
Hopefully they get off the island by then. Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, so that is this whole part, and it's very annoying. Eventually, Birdie gets closer to Fritz, and they share a kiss. And Ernst just keeps getting disappointed, basically. So now they know that like the pirates are probably going to come back because they have Roberta with them. So they're going to come back for her. So they're going to set a bunch of traps and get prepared to fight back to these pirates. So now the whole rest of the movie is like preparing the island for this. In the midst of this, they're like, let's also throw a holiday. Did they end up calling this something, or is it?
I don't know, but they needed a mood lifter, you know, because it was just pretty stressful. You know, they're spending days and who knows how long waiting in, you know, like sitting ducks for these pirates, and also making all these what are kind of like booby traps in a lot of ways. Yeah. Booby traps?
100%.
That's what I said. Booby traps.
Definitely.
So they're making coconut bombs. They're going to have like a fort and then do all of this defensive sort of mechanisms around the fort. And it's like on a big hill. So they cut big trees down and use the trunks to like prop those up so they'll fall down. I don't know how they stack those giant boulders up there to then eventually fall down. Who knows? I guess the slave labor from all the animals. They, like I said, coconut bombs. There's other kind of bomb situations going on.
They were loosey-goosey with those coconut bombs.
I thought he kept lighting them. The dad is a freaking mastermind. I don't know what his job was in Bern, Switzerland, but like, whoa, why does he know how to do all this like defensive things?
Talk about it a little? Yeah, like why are you geniuses?
I don't know. They're so smart.
But yeah, so they have this celebration, and they're doing this race where all the kids ride on an animal and then have to like loop around these like maypoles, pretty much. So it's pretty chaotic.
And they all wear special fun hats.
They all wear special fun hats.
That was my favorite part.
They really use all the materials on the island to make.
And hats. A monkey rides the Great Dane in a little saddle, and I almost burst into tears. It was so cute.
Yo, that monkey was skinny as fuck. Like, somebody feed that monkey some food, because like
that's his job.
I was worried. I'm like, does this seem like animal cruelty? I'm like, why is that monkey so skinny? But yeah, he was cute though. And so Birdie is on Duchess the zebra, and she's like off wild. She's going down like hills. I don't know what the fuck Birdie's doing. Evidently she's a horse rider, because she can ride that zebra very well. So she goes to the beach and like falls off the zebra, and then sees all the pirate ships coming. So she's like, fuck, I gotta tell everyone. So she runs back, tells everybody, they get into position, and then the last like 30 minutes is like a pirate fight with the pirates. So they just basically undo all the traps, and one by one the pirates like get hurt by the trap, and then decide they can still fight them, and then get hurt by another trap. And then finally, I forget like what the final thing is that makes them be like, never mind, and then the pirates take off. So they're saved. But it's actually Birdie's grandfather comes back with his ships. She's always been talking about, like, he probably has all these ships coming right now. And they're like, sure, he's dead. He's definitely dead, right? He wasn't dead. So he comes back. He's like, thank you for taking care of my granddaughter. Oh, here's a gift for you, Ernst. You can go to college.
Woo!
And Ernst is super stoked. Turns out rest of the family is just going to stay there. The mom has been brainwashed and now believes that this is where they should live. And he's like, are you sure? And she's like, yes. And I don't know. I'm not sold on it. I mean, she has no friends. I just feel bad. I just feel terrible for her. Like, she doesn't like any of this.
I mean, I think like as a vacation home, awesome. You want to get away? Yes. You want some tranquility? Like, awesome.
Yeah.
What do you like? Wouldn't you run out of things to do? And without her sons around, though, I guess her sons will be around.
Right.
So
everything there though is like adventure based.
Right.
And like she doesn't really like going on adventures. So what is she supposed to do? I don't know.
And like, what if you get sick? You know, like what if you like some bug bites you? And I mean, I don't know. It seems.
I mean, who knows?
It seems really dicey, but they loved it. I mean, it was a cool place to live.
Right. So Fritz and Birdie make out some more. They decide to like be together on this island. But I mean, now that they have this kind of like way in, not out, and like in and on the island, right? They can open up all these things. So like once. I mean, Ernst is obviously going to meet some girl in college and be like, come home to my family's island. And then they'll stay there for a while. And then when Francis gets old enough, he'll leave and find a woman. And then he has a life and they'll come back and live there, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe it'll be like a summer home.
Right.
Who
I mean,
knows?
it's not, we have no idea like how far this is to any like civilization. So maybe it's not that far, you know, maybe it's only a couple days journey or something like that. But yeah, they just love their little idyllic, peaceful retreat. Still living around all those animals, though. I don't know. I'd be like kind of freaked out. Yeah. Namely, you know, the tiger.
I mean, the tiger's never gonna. The tiger's not gonna forget that you threw him in a hole and like made him eat pirates. Like, and the cheetahs. I'm just. Okay, ostriches are from Africa, right?
Okay, they're almost all the animals were. So I think they try to get around this by like Ernst says something that he's reading a book about how something with a land bridge
Pangea or something.
Yeah, like something with a land bridge from Africa to Asia, and he thinks this island was a part of that land bridge, and then these animals like moved from Africa and then got stuck on it, and then that's why they're like stuck.
I don't buy it, Ernst. I don't
seemed
buy
a little fuzzy. I'm pretty sure hyenas are from Africa. You got ostriches also. Tigers, I mean, that is in Asia.
Anacondas, like, isn't that in South America?
Yeah. Like,
hello. Yeah.
Zebras, that's definitely Africa.
Baby elephant. I didn't see what kind of elephant it was.
Right.
But,
could have been an Asian elephant. Didn't get to check out the ears.
Yeah. Couldn't tell you. Wasn't sure. The zebras, yeah, it's like, okay, interesting.
They just wanted to include like all these fun, like I said, like zoo animals, jungle animals.
You know, I hope they make it. I hope they made it. I hope they have a great life. And I don't know.
Well, and remember, the ship captain also says like this will probably be a new colony. Like now that you've been on it and you've established kind of that you can live here and survive, I bet other people are going to come. And I feel like that will sort of to defeat the purpose of like what the mom was like going for.
At the end of the day, this movie is just about like colonialism, right? Like, like they're just colonizing this place, stealing all the animals and taking them for their own. And then, you know, just like taking all this shit for themselves. It's bizarre. Like the weirdest animal thieving was the baby elephant. Because you're like, whose baby is this?
Whose
like,
baby is it? Yeah.
What the fuck? Francis. And then he's like, he leaves that poor baby elephant tied up with this like crazy tiger on the loose. I was so pissed at him. I was like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? Fucking Francis.
But don't worry. 2 Great Danes can take down a tiger like that.
Who knew? Like, bizarre. I don't believe that. I don't believe that for a second.
Like, I know Great Danes are big, but I don't think they're as big as a tiger, right?
And the tiger is like teeth is way sharper, right? Yeah. And they have those huge claws. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I mean, Great Danes are big, but like pretty like dope, skinny and like kind of sinewy and yeah, I don't know. That seemed like far-fetched, but anyways, cool movie, like we said, but obviously has some problems. So the racist depiction of the pirates, not great. As Sweetie said, you know, they kind of have every Asian stereotype in the book. So the main guy like is basically has like a sarong on and like sandals, I want to say.
I mean, they're all just like characters of that kind of like white panic nightmare. Like if you're a white person, who would you be scared to meet on the seas kind of thing. Like vibe. Like, ooh, they're so savage. They have like these random knife fights where they just kill each other with knives. Like it's just like it's just kind of that stuff, that like that theme of this outsider who's a different race is this like savage person. And so that's definitely like the main crux of this. Well, they're not really speaking any like a language. It seems to be like some sort of. It seems like they made it up, and they're just made it up or gibberish. They kind of have, you know, the main guy, Pirate King, has like some grasp of English, so like will speak in this sort of broken, the creepiest thing though is that when Birdie is telling the guys like, why did your grandpa make you dress up like a boy? And she's like, well, like he didn't want the pirates to know I was a woman. And you're like, ew, because obviously they would have like raped her and killed her. Because they're these, like sold her into pirates. white slavery. You know. What? No, they would have just like raped her. What do you mean? No, but they like that. Remember, Indiana Jones, going back to that again, like marrying the guy, like when they're in the ship, and the guy's like, she'll like she'll fetch a fair price, like on the market. They would also like sell women as like sex slaves, so they might rape her, but they wouldn't kill her. So it's like potential rape and probably slavery. Pretty wild with those machetes, which were all like plastic, like cardboard machete, like very clearly not real machetes. Yeah. But yeah, it's not great. So yeah, you know, that's that part. But that part where she's like basically saying they would rape me without saying that was really creepy to me. Yeah, just like, wow, definitely would not have caught that as a kid. Yeah, and that was, I feel like, a theme in a lot of pirate, you know, themed movies or stowaway or desert island movies. You know, like
if you had
Rape
like a
was a
stowaway. No, that the women would dress up as men or as cabin boys.
But the brutal truth of it is that they don't want to get randomly raped by like
but even just to travel on the boat, they wouldn't allow women. You know that old superstition about women not being allowed on boats?
Yeah, well, and they probably treated them terribly and would rape them. Like it's just like everything back then was just like fucking. If you've seen Outlander, like people are just getting raped like all over the place.
Oh yeah, totally. And this is turn of the 18th century, so like early 1800s. So yeah, it wasn't a woman's place, but terrifying. Agreed. Okay, what was I gonna say? All right. I don't have too much more. I just have a couple questions.
Cool.
Outstanding questions.
Oh boy.
Where did they get wine? Just from the ship that they had, and then they just took it?
Oh, I didn't even realize
they're drinking on Christmas.
I mean, it seemed like they had everything they could need on that ship that didn't sink. So there must have been, even though it didn't look like a big ship, there must have been stuff on it.
Yeah. Right. Right, like dry goods and stuff. What would they eat on that island? So they had coconuts. You do see them fish.
Well, they have all those animals.
Bananas. So they're going to eat the animals?
Yeah, you don't just like keep pigs around for pets. Like, I mean, that was the main reason they took all those animals, and probably they had like a cow, right? So like for milk.
Were there chickens?
Probably.
I
think they're like flying around. I don't remember if they got any, but yeah, it's all for that. It's all about like sustaining yourself.
I bet it was a lot of bananas, a lot of coconuts, a lot of fish. Good diet.
Yeah.
How long have they been there? So we already talked about that. They go through a Christmas season, so who knows when they got there. But you know, maybe by then it's like a year.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm gonna say that. Yeah. Seems right.
How do they keep their shoes on in the jungle? So I already kind of talked about this, but they do like always have shoes on, and they always are wearing pants too.
Why wouldn't they keep their shoes on in the jungle?
I don't know. I just feel like you'd either abandon shoes or make some sort of flip-flop.
Flip-flop? Were flip-flops a thing back
then? No, I think they do end up making a sandal because Ernst like ends up having a sandal.
When
they're like traipsing around the island, when they go on their
they
like
really are making everything. At one point, the mom's
wooden
like,
canoe.
Oh my god! This other funny line was when the mom sees the treehouse room and is like, "These curtains don't belong here," and the dad's like, "Don't worry, I happen to know a great like person who can fix it, and it's her. She's the person." So she's like, "Oh, you don't like it? You can make your own new ones." So then she's making these curtains out of like some mysterious fabric, which didn't seem like a dress because she was making so many panels. Like, I'm not sure one garment could make all those curtains. So I just didn't understand where that fabric was coming from.
Yeah, who knows what they had on that ship.
So I guess that's what the mom did all day. It was just redecorate the treehouse.
Yeah, redecorate. I'm sure she made all the hats. She was in charge of making all the clothes and making new clothes.
All the fun stuff.
Yeah, all the cooking. She had that cool kitchen. I mean, you know, she could do it. But yeah, I mean, seems like a fun life. Would I stay on the island or go back to civilization? I mean, I'm torn. It depends on what phase of my life I was in,
right.
I guess.
But also, let's think that like life wasn't that great back then.
Right.
Like we weren't missing these like comforts that we have now, like television. Like no, they didn't even have that. So who knows? Maybe this was ideal.
But eventually, you're gonna read all the books you brought. You know?
Did they bring books?
Yeah, and when he shows her up to the like master suite, there's a bookshelf with all these books in it.
Well, you don't have to always be reading books.
But what else are you gonna do?
Some people don't read any books now.
No, I know, but like, do you ever think about like if you were stuck on a desert island, like what would you do?
Yeah, I mean, you have this problem because you don't like doing the same thing for like many times. But like boys on this island would find something new, wacky adventure to get in every day and like have so much fun. And they'd spend like a whole day being like, I'm going to chop down this tree, and it'd be like the best day ever for them. Yeah. So like maybe it'd be harder for us, sure. Yeah. But like it would be great. We would just sleep a lot, swim maybe, train the animals. I don't know. I'm sure there could be lots of options.
I just need a book or something, you know? I just need a book. Right. Or several.
You could write a book. That would be...
I guess I would have to. And then I'd read it 800 times.
Exactly. Problem solved. But yeah, it's not... I mean, for me, it'd just be a vacation. I don't want to stay there all the time. Yeah. That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah. I mean, if I was a mom and dad, I'd be like, sure. But if I was like a young kid, I'm like, well,
I got a life to
like
live
see
here.
other people. Yeah. Like definitely come back and hang with the folks.
Like, no friends. I don't want
bring your girlfriends to the old tree house.
Right. Like, I don't want to hang out with my brothers and my mom and dad for the rest of my life.
Like, I know. Like Francis is gonna be fucked up. When first I thought like he's like, oh yeah, I don't have to go. Like he doesn't have to go back to England or wherever they're going. And I was like, okay, that guy needs a fucking kick in the ass. Like, he can't stay on the island hurting animals.
He needs some discipline.
He looked like somebody either like we grew up with or we know. I couldn't put my finger on it. Like somebody.
I know he did look like somebody.
Yeah,
somebody.
This little pumpkin dew.
Someone we hated, evidently.
Yeah, bowl cut.
Yeah. So. Anyways, all right. Well, anything else?
No, sir.
Cool. But yeah, have you watched this? I said, maybe is it the Swiss film? No, it's. I don't know. Now I'm questioning everything.
Your whole life. What was it? It's the difference between a
have you seen
and a not.
This movie? Do you like
it's just Swiss Family.
Okay. Have you seen Swiss Family Robinson? Come find us on Twitter at the Sweetie Club or on Instagram at Large Marge Santos. Thank you, as always, for listening. Bye.
Bye. Who's the rape artist?
Pirates, I guess.
Pirates.